Parity, 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 parity. If you've been in the Minecraft community for any amount of time, you've probably heard people asking Mojang for this seemingly magical thing. After all, this is the easiest way to appease the community and make the game better, right? Well, in my opinion, that couldn't be further from the truth. And before you angry keyboard warriors start typing, hear me out. Let's group the features that have yet to be parodied into two categories. You have the small, easy-to-fix details such as fallen trees and forests, the color of grass in this very specific subset of savannas, or the sounds that doors make for some reason. Mojang, who decided to change the how did Whatever, I'm not gonna question. And then you have the complex mechanics, which are vastly different on each version, and will require a ton of work to make the same. Spectator mode, redstone, dual wielding, etc. So let's start with the elephant in the room. No, not the marketplace, we'll talk about that later. I'm talking about those deeper mechanics, which are a core aspect of gameplay. I'll be using redstone as the main example here, but the logic behind this applies to a lot of features. The basic idea is still the same on both versions. This dust looks like a wire, and when turned on transmits a signal. The signal can then open doors, push pistons, turn on lights, all that fun stuff. But Java has this fun little thing called quasi-connectivity, which I'm too dumb to understand. But it fundamentally changes how all contraptions are built in this edition. So Mojang, is this a bug? A feature? If it's something you intend to leave in, why do you refuse to acknowledge it? What about Bedrock? Is it really so hard to communicate clearly with your player base? So basically, since Mojang decided that this is a bug, but can't remove it because it would piss off millions of Java fans, which frequently use it to make all sorts of crazy stuff. And they can't add it to Bedrock either because then it would obliterate those players' contraptions, and would force them to learn a whole new system, which is often very unintuitive. It's basically this comic in a nutshell. Oh, but can't Mojang just make some new redstone system so all players get treated equally? No, not really. A major priority of theirs with updates is that they don't want to break anyone's existing rules, and this type of redstone update would completely violate that principle, not to mention being a ridiculous amount of work for the devs. So unless you want a huge controversy to the likes of 1.9, changing redstone in any capacity isn't an option. But what about features that aren't different, but simply lacking in one edition? For example, dual wielding. Well, the culprit here is different. Phones. Let's do a super quick history recap. The Better Together update released in September of 2017 and unified PCs, consoles, and mobile under a single version of the game, whereas before there used to be a unique edition for each platform. This came with a lot of advantages, such as crossplay between all devices, but also many drawbacks. One of these being that touchscreens can't really compete with a keyboard or controller. Touch forces a trade-off between fewer and harder to access features and actually being able to see the game. Before this was fine, since PE was a simplified version of Minecraft, but now it's holding back the entire Bedrock player base from getting features like dual wielding, and it's a major reason as to why we still don't have bundles in vanilla. But bundles and the inventory problem is a whole different can of worms that we won't be getting into, at least in this video. Alright, maybe you understand how big changes like these can be problematic, but there can't be any harm in parodying simple stuff, like say, whether campfire should set stuff on fire, right? Surely there won't be a community-wide controversy that big YouTubers discuss it and people rage on Twitter. There was a community-wide controversy that big YouTubers discussed and people rage on Twitter. So why? Mainly because a lot of Bedrock farms relied on campfires to work, and now everyone that used the mechanism has to rebuild them, sometimes from the ground up. Also, they're pretty pissed that Java tends to get their full exclusive, while they are left in the dust. And while I'm trying to stay as objective as possible here, I think they have a point. Well, it's obvious that Microsoft favors Bedrock. It was literally renamed as The Minecraft. In an ironic twist, those players have a less powerful voice in the grand scheme of things, allowing this type of stuff to happen time and time again. Another feature that is way harder to implement than one may first think is hardcore mode. Sure, from a coding perspective it's quite easy, but the problem is that Bedrock is known for its bugs, and it seems like each time one deadly glitch is patched, 3 new ones appear. Just how much would it suck if countless hours of work went down the drain just because you randomly fell into the void or were attacked by an invisible polar bear? Now let's finally talk about the Minecraft marketplace. This is a big reason as to why many don't take Bedrock seriously, and honestly, it's kinda sad. Microsoft was handed a perfectly fine game, and you can always make those Wall Street shareholders happier by adding microtransactions. Now, for obvious reasons, adding the marketplace to Java is an awful idea. Literally no one wants that kind of parity, but let's be realistic. At least on Bedrock, that thing is here to stay. And that's something that will divide the community forever, because it sets the vibe that one version is for serious, dedicated players, while the other is a cash grab meant to appeal to 5-year-olds. And let's set the record straight here. Mojang and Microsoft are pushing this thing hard. I kid you not, while I was writing this script, the official Minecraft channel dropped whatever this is. At this point, it's just an unfunny corporate joke. By the way, if you want to get to the bottom of the marketplace rabbit hole, the Mr. Epic has a great video on it. I'll have it linked in the card above in the description. So, does it mean that there is no hope for parity? We will forever have a Java versus Bedrock feud, and we should just give up and let Mojang do whatever? No, of course not. Even though certain smaller features have implications you might not realize, others are truly as harmless as they seem. I think that big salmon, bone mealing sugarcane, and fallen trees are pretty cool and would improve Java. And it's about damn time Bedrock players got nether roof building. Despite all the obstacles I just talked about, spectator mode is already in beta, and recent leaks suggest that dual wielding will soon follow. As for this pointless war between editions, I think this is mostly our problem. No matter how seriously Mojang takes parity, as long as two different versions of Minecraft exist, there will be differences, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing. We just need to mature as a community and recognize that if Mojang and Microsoft fuck something up, we need to unite and protest against them together instead of wasting time and energy on useless infighting. Wow, I basically said we need to embrace the power of friendship. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you're still here, consider liking and subscribing, and consider checking out this next. Goodbye.